Hi everyone, it's Maria Luz of Maria Luz Online, and I'm here with the Astro Energy Report. So coming off the new moon and going into the weekend, how are you feeling? Tomorrow on Saturday, Venus squares Saturn in Pisces, and then on Sunday, the sun will do the same on its day of honor, Sunday. And on that same day, Mars moves into Taurus, leaving its home sign of Aries. And so, with this Gemini season being a little weightier than is typical, this check-in with Saturn seems appropriate. So the Sabian symbols reflect this as well. And the symbol that both Venus and the Sun will be on when they make that square to Saturn is a cafeteria with an abundance of choices. And then Saturn in Pisces will be on the symbol, a table set for an evening meal. And it goes on in that description to bring up the concept of spiritual nourishment. So you can see off the bat that the Sun and Venus in Gemini are on a very Gemini type of sign, which is the cafeteria. And it's, you can flit around and pick a little of this and a little of that. And then Saturn is on the more formal, this evening meal laid out very traditionally and nicely. And so I think maybe we're being asked to just take a little care, like be intentional, maybe even be spiritual when it comes to thinking about our Gemini activities, like connecting with people, which would be the Venus part, and maybe the choices that we're looking at for our conscious purpose, which would be the Sun energy. And just to keep this in mind as we are out there doing our networking and doing our Gemini things, exploring new places and meeting new people. And just to think about how we're going to add those things into our existing structure. And that structure piece, of course, being the Saturn part of our lives. And so it just seemed so fitting to me that this is happening when graduations are occurring this weekend, and including my son Sam, who is graduating from college on Sunday. And so it just seems that, that extra attention to, like, these are the people I've been spending my time with these last 4 years, and this is what I've been learning these last 4 years, and then just kind of doing that check-in in a little bit of a serious way before you go off to party this summer and then begin, the adulting that I mean, I'll just say it's probably going to be quite a shock for many of those young people. Whether or not they are graduating or not. Summer's always really fun, and then the autumn comes and it's back to school time for all the young people. And then with Mars moving into Taurus, it's actually a really strong position for Mars because Taurus also has a lot of energy. It's just a very different energy from Aries, whereas Aries was just this, it's the sprinter energy. It's like, going to get you off the blocks. But then Taurus is the fixed energy. So it's going to keep you going. It's that stamina. So we just have to beware because remember, Mars is very like unidirectional. So wherever you aim it, it's going there. So with Taurus, it's going to want to kind of keep going that direction, and it can tend towards inertia. So it's not the easiest if you wanted to change up, where you're focusing your energy. So just be aware of that. And then I also just thought it would be good to remind us in general, how to apply this information. And so look at your birth chart. And for example, this month with all of those planets, including the sun, and then recently Mercury being in Gemini, you'll want to look at your birth chart and see where Gemini is. And so you'll likely see the glyph for Gemini, which looks kind of like a Roman numeral 2 on the outside of your wheel of your chart. And you can kind of count up starting at that midpoint on the left-hand side, which starts your first house, and you can count over and see where Gemini is. And that's where you're likely to be feeling this strong Gemini energy. And so, for example, in my chart, Gemini is over the 8th house, which is not the most fun place for Gemini energy. But, you probably hear the stereotypes about the 8th house, but it is a lot of, Pluto energy and Scorpio energy. So there can be a lot of just like other people's stuff kind of to deal with. And sure enough, that has been coming up somewhat. And so I have definitely been feeling a little bit drained in that area, just because, again, that Gemini energy kind of is like popcorn. So anyway, I just wanted to point that out because you may be feeling it in other areas, but you just may be feeling a little more drained than you normally would, and that is probably why. So I also just did an episode of my podcast, Maria Luz's Conscious Curiosities, on Saturn. So if you want to brush up on Saturn or just learn more, please check that out. And thank you so much for listening. Please share this if you find it useful, and send me any feedback, info@marialuz.online. Thank you so much, and go off and enjoy your weekend.